Hey everyone, welcome to the workshop. If you're wondering why I'm kneeling down here, it's because today I'm going to show you how to build this table saw bench on wheels. Nice and easily moves around with one finger, and it'll have little locks on the wheels for you, and you can also put a little shelf in here. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I know they're a little heavy and bulky, but I have extra 4x4s around. And that's all about me just trying to use the scrap wood I have around. So I have some 4x4s. Now these were at 36. Now I cut them for my table saw stand down to 26. So the base that it's on right now that it comes with the saw was 24, but I wanted a little bit higher, so I cut them at 26. And one thing about 4x4s, if you know, it can warp very easily, crack. You can see how this one, they're all cracked, they're all kind of twisted a little bit once they finally dry out. Not all of them, but a good portion of them. So it doesn't matter when you're building your stand, as long as it has something for the table saw to sit on and something for the wheels. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to leave these untouched, the bottom and the top, so I can put my wheel casters on the bottom, and I can bolt the saw to the top to have some meat, instead of me notching an inch and a half out of it for my 2x4. I'm going to recess it down a few inches and up a few inches. So I'm going to end up having like a shelf underneath here too. That way that I can have my 2x4s go across and brace it, right? So I'm going to end up taking a measurement and then taking my little hand saw instead, and kind of notching an inch and a half and then chiseling it out, just so I can have my 2x4 sit in there, and then screw it through to hold it together, and that'll keep this table itself sturdy, and it won't want to wobble around. So let me go and start notching these out. Now remember, 2x4 is 3.5, so I'll do 2 cuts at 3.5, and then I'll chisel it through. You can see I have spaces notched where my 2x4s are going to be, and I just realized that my chisels aren't as sharp as I wish they would be. A couple of pieces went through nice and easy, and a couple of them were a little harder. Now, you know, if you're chiseling and you hit the knots area, it's get a little bit harder to clear out. But since this is just a table saw bench or stand, it doesn't have to be perfect. I made it a little bit wider than 3.5, just to make sure that it fits in there, and then I can kind of level it off and square it up, and then I can always shim it too, and then before I screw it or bolt it in, right? So next I'm going to cut the 2x4s. Now I'm going to show you down here. What I'm going to do is, it's only 19 across the bottom, so if you go from that corner to that corner is 19. So I'm going to expand it past, because you can see this part of the table saw here. I want to be able to have an extra piece onto it in case I have a longer piece that I have to cut. But I also want it to be removed, because I'm going to end up doing a miter saw stand that's going to be very similar to this stand, and I want to be able to interchange it. So if I want to put an extender on the miter saw and not here, then it's just a little, like a carriage bolt that just slides in and out, and no problem, right? So I don't have to worry about that. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is have like a removable platform so it extends if I have a longer piece of wood. So now that means that it's 19 inches across. I'm going to cut them at 24, so that'll give me an extra 5 inches as the top of the table saw is only, I think, maybe 2 inches past the bottom. So if I do 24, that should give me enough room that I can sit that platform in and use it whenever I need it on either the miter saw or the table saw. So I'm going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of them at 24 inches, and then we'll start assembling the base. So I got the 4 2x4s cut. Now, what I did is I cut them at 26 instead of 24, just to make sure I have enough meat past the edge of the table saw to put a bolt through it when I put the extender on. So rather have a little bit more than not enough, right? So now I'm going to start assembling them, and once I have it together, kind of give you an update before I start putting the actual, taking it off the stand it's on and put it on the new stand, because I got to figure out if I have everything I need here, as I haven't even looked. I'm just gonna build what I have right now, but I know I have screws to screw these into the 4x4s for now. I can always wedge it if I need to put some wedges in to square it up. And then once I put the shelving down, that'll kind of stabilize it from moving anyways. And once I get the table saw on, that'll help as well. So let me start assembling. All right, so the base is done. Put some supports on the side too. I'll put a little shelf in between. I squared it up. Now, glad I cut it, these here, as you can see the overhang here, glad I cut them 26 inches, because I was measuring 19 for the table saw. Actually is the outer edge, but I want the bolts to go as close to the center of the 4x4s as possible, and bolt to bolt is 17, but outside edge to outside edge is 20 and a half. So if I would have done 20 and a half, that's an extra 1.5 inches more than the 19 I said. So luckily I did these to 26, so hopefully that's enough for it to overhang, so I can put that extension on. Now, I don't have to be dead center. I can shift it a little bit more to the opposite side of where my extension is going to be. But I wanted to make sure that at least if there was a split, because remember I was showing you some of them were split, that I wasn't going to be pushing my bolt into where it was split. I wanted to give it the most meat possible. So I may just look to see and put a mark and pre-drill where the best spot for that table saw can go, but I wanted to make sure that I have meat to move around. So if I went center to center, it gives me the most movement, and hopefully you understood what I was saying. But now I can put the wheels on the bottom and prepare this to get the table on top. All right, so I have the wheels on. As you can see, I have little locks on them. So these wheels, the front with that lock, I put them closer to the front than in the middle, just so I make sure that I can use my foot to lock them. And the back ones, they don't spin around like that. They're just normal standard ones. So I don't really need them to move around. As you can see, I can move it no problem. And then my foot can lock them, right? And even with one, it's hard to move with one. So now I'm going to clean up the sawdust from all my cuts I made, and then I'm going to take the table saw off its stand and put it on this. All right, so I'm ready to bolt this to the base. I always keep everything that I have. If I take things apart and throw it away, I keep screws and bolts and nuts and washers and stuff like that, because you never know when you're going to need them. So this is what I'm going to do. Now, one thing I want to show you is where I'm placing it, because I'm not placing it in the center, as you can see. The reason why, as I'll show you here, is see this here, that's the one 2x4 that braces, and here's the overhang being 2x4s for the extender piece. So what I wanted to do, I made this end level with here, so when I put my extender piece, it can go straight up against this, and it'll be level with this. So I kind of line these up together, and then it's not too far off from the center, but it's close. So now I will put these on, and then I won't continue with the video with the extender piece. I'm just going to end the video here, and when I do my miter saw stand, I'll make the extender piece for that. All right, pretty much done. The only thing I have to do is put something down there so I could use it as like a little bit of a storage area. So I'm just probably going to take some either old fence pickets, or I have like 1x4 pieces on, like I have pieces like that. I'll see whatever I have in scrap just to make a little shelf there. But you can see how easy this wheels around now. Nice, so I can put it in the corner here when I'm not using it, and taking it out when I need it. The only thing is I wanted it higher because I didn't want to have to bend down, right? So it's perfect for me when I'm pushing it through. Now, I know I told you I did the height there of the legs were 26, but don't forget you got to account for the wheels. So if you want it at 26, you have to measure the height of the wheel and then subtract from there. Okay, so be careful there, because then if I didn't like it higher, then I would have messed up, and then I would have to cut it down. But I wanted, so I didn't have to kind of just crouch. You know, when you're getting old, your back, when you're just even slightly bent, it's more than bending full. So I want to make sure that I can nice and comfortably push the wood through now. So when I do the miter saw base, kind of like this, I will show you how to do the extender. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell to be notified when I post another video. We'll talk to you later.